I'm just dropping things.
Hello and welcome to another session of the Streaming School. Thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, as ever, I'm joined by Anisha and our resident drama teacher, Mr. Gary Orbin. A very good morning to you, Mr. Orbin. How are you, buddy?
Morning to you too. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. I can see the sun's shining in on London.
Absolutely right. It's lovely. We'll get out there soon. Lovely, thanks.
Looking forward to it, buddy. Well, as long as you give us 20 minutes of your best, then yeah, I hope you enjoy your outside time. The floor is yours, buddy.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good morning, everyone. So my name is Gary Orbin. For those of you who haven't tuned in yet, I'm teaching drama. This is my 5th lesson, and all the old sessions are focused really on the role of the actor and what an actor can do, what they can use in terms of their physical skills and their vocal skills, and then how to write about that really well for the purposes of your essays and exams. So today I want to shift slightly and talk about the role of the director, the role of the theatre director. So a silent task for you to start with, 10 seconds or so please, of considering what does a director actually do? I'll leave that with you. Okay, so what does a director do? What I've done before, I'm just going to talk while I just get to present my screen. So I'll disappear, but I'll be back in a moment. What does a director do? I've sometimes asked young people I worked with before, maybe there's a group and I say, oh, there's one child left over, you can be the director. And what they generally do is they stand there and they watch what's going on, but they don't really make it better because I haven't explained to them what being a director looks like. So I'm here to sort of try and clarify that a little bit today, and then we'll start to touch on how to write about directing questions in exams, and then into my lesson we'll really hone in on your writing technique for questions about the director. And generally speaking, in GCSE exams you will have to answer questions from the point of view of an actor, a director, and some kind of designer. So this is absolutely vital to exam success, and I hope you find something here interesting and relevant. So let's start at the beginning with the director's toolkit. What is the purpose? What is the point of a director? Okay, what does a theatre director do? I'll just read out here from encyclopedia.com. Direct the art of leading dramatic performances on stage or in films. Okay, the modern theatrical director, so director of theatre, is in complete charge of the artistic aspect of a dramatic presentation. So they're the artistic leader. They're not selling tickets. Well, they should be in smaller production perhaps, but the role isn't selling tickets. The role isn't fixing lights that are open, but the role is every artistic decision is overseen by the director. Okay, make all those decisions, doesn't tell every actor what to do all the time, doesn't choose the lights for every scene all the time, but has oversight of all those things. I'm reading the next bit here on the slide. It's the director's first task to discover a central mood or idea in the text of the play to be performed. So this is a little sort of, abstract, but it's absolutely key to you writing well about directing. You need to know what you want to say. And we talked about this in the exercise as well. What do you want to communicate to your audience? Is it about the central character being a total hero or a total wally or anything in between? So think about what you're trying to communicate. Okay, on this next slide here from StageMilk.com, a theatre director is in charge of the creative vision of a theatre production. So what do you want to say and how are you going to say that critically? The goal is to bring out the best performance from the actors and tell the story of the play in a compelling way. A theatre director also oversees creative choice on set, what you decide. So in a direct question, in an exam, you will not be, there's a subtle difference from writing about an acting question that we'll go through a bit in today's and tomorrow's lessons, but it is about what you get your actors to do. It's not detail about a lighting design, but it will probably incorporate some of those answers, perhaps referring to the lights or sound or set, within how you answer the question about your actors. It is not just you actor, stand over there, which for the untrained person, the person who doesn't know about theatre, not for GCSE drama students like yourselves, it's that what they might find themselves doing. Okay, so let's look at that in a bit more detail. So What do I want to communicate to the audience? And the key here is in interpretation. When you pick up a script, they're collections of pieces of paper. They are not a play. They're pieces of paper with words on that you need to turn from something on a page that can exist on a stage. So what do you want to say? If it's a play that you're given or you choose to direct and it's about schools, for example, well, what's the main central message? Do you want to communicate that schools don't listen to their pupils? Or that schools try to fit round pegs into square holes? They try to make one system work for everyone. Or do you want to say that schools set you up for life? Do you want to say, as a director in your production, that the decisions you make aged 15 will affect you forever? Or do you want to say that school you into the adult you'll become? So when you're directing your production, what you want to say is X, Y, or Z. And of course, the script writer has done some of that for you. You can't say that I want to show how wonderful school is if the whole play is about how terrible school is. But you're looking beyond that a bit and going, where are the bits where I can interpret? I can find my interpretation. More about that word a bit later. It's another example for a play about family. Okay, so you might look at Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman or Eugene O'Neill's Long Day's Journey to Night. They're both plays that are about family dynamics, really, and family relationships. Neither of them are positive, really. They sort of say that people within a family slowly just destroy each other if they're unhappy about themselves. But in your play about family, what do you want to say? Do you want to say that family know you better than you know yourself? Do you want to say that you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family? I.e., these people who are closest to you, you haven't chosen them, you're different from them often, but you're stuck with them. Do you want to say that parents need to focus only on their children's happiness? That parents need to be totally giving and sacrifice more to make their children happy? Do you want to say that young people should be able to make their own choices? So you need to, obviously it needs to make sense with what the script writer, the playwright has given you. It needs to make sense with that. But there is a lot of room for interpretation and for you to make these decisions. And you will need to as a director. What's my creative drive here? What's my creative vision? Okay. Exam question you might get as a director: what would you want to communicate to the audience within this extract? An extract from a play, it would say, how would you do it as a director, essentially? Okay, and we'll talk a bit more about what options you have as a director. In fact, yeah, let's just fast forward a bit to that now, actually. Tools to use as a director. This is not an exhaustive list. I can't possibly cover everything, but it's a sort of good initial tick list you start with. As a director, pace. How quickly or slowly do I want this extra particular moments in this extra to take place in, to happen with? So, pace. Stillness. As a director, do you want there to be a lot of stillness in a particular moment, or from a particular character, or on a particular section of the stage? Gaze. Are my actors all looking at one another, looking at the floor, looking into the sky, avoiding eye contact with each other, etc.? Proxemics. We talked in our acting video, feel free to go and look back at it, about the physical skills, about proxemics, about whether the actors are on stage, the characters on stage are in public space, so quite far from each other, social space, so a couple of meters away, personal space, a meter away, or the intimate space, very, very close. Okay? And any of what meanings that communicate to an audience. Use of a prop. So you might about a particular prop that is in the stage directions or not, and how this might be a symbol of something, and talk about how your actors would use it. You might have some more abstract. Just about some of these more abstract things, if it fits the production, where you might use slow motion and synchronized movement. So you could get your actors all in a particular moment, moving around the stage just in slow motion there, all of them, or perhaps just some of them. And that could be combined perhaps with some synchronized movement, everyone moving around in the same way. And that could be maybe all the characters are slow motion and synchronized, except one, the character who stands out, the character who's isolated, the character who's not in on the joke. So you can decide if they have to use the more abstract elements, and that's for you as a director to be leading on. That's not the job of just one actor to say, I'm going to use slow motion here. That's really a director's decision. A couple of hints there, again, in thinking about what a director does. Well, you might mention those technical elements. Let's zoom in on here. You might mention them, but you won't focus on them. The focus really of the director will be in this question is what you do with your actors. I would, as a director, I would ask the actor or actors playing this or these characters to do this or that. Okay, so you mention sound lights. You might say the actors would move into the red light to show the warm glow of something. So you're mentioning other aspects, but you're really focusing on your actors primarily. And then as a director, focus on the instructions you're giving to a group of actors where possible. You can write directing questions like you're just writing an acting question. You might say, I would ask the actor to do a facial expression like this. I would ask the actor to use gestures like this. And really that's missing the point slightly of the director. Director is more about asking those bigger questions. Okay, thinking about, so as a tip for you, look at the what a group of actors are doing rather than just one actor. So as done before, it's easiest probably to put through an example and don't worry about if you know the play or not. And I'll use DNA because if you watch the acting videos, you may have taken the time just to learn a little bit about it from the links I've put up on the slides. So this is a section where, if you remember, there's a group of teenagers. They've been sort of pranking this boy called Adam, and it's gone too far, and he died. Okay, and this is where Jan and Mark, I think, are telling the group that he's dead, and then they're working out what to do about it. Okay, so I'll read it out here. But this character Mark just giving a bit of a monologue here. He says, so we're all pegging them, laughing. His face is just making you laugh harder and harder. And they're getting nearer and nearer. And one hits his head. That stone is the best one. One hits his head. And the shock on his face is so funny. And we're all just really standing to him really hard and laughing. And he slips and he drops into the, so he's, and John Tate, if you remember, is the leader of the group, really. He's quite intimidating to people. He says, dead. He's dead. He says, you're clever, so what do we do? Pause, they stare at Leah and Phil. Leah goes to say something, but nothing comes out. Silence, more silence. Phil puts his coat carefully on the ground, and Phil says, Kathy, Danny, Mark, you go to Adam's house, you wait until his mum's out, you break in. What? Well, and the scene carries on where Phil really makes the plan for how they're going to respond to all this. Okay, so I've shown you this bit of script because it's easier to talk about directing with an example. But the thing you would need to do as a director is interpretation. So you need to go, all right, the playwright gives me certain parameters, certain things that need to happen. It needs to be someone telling a story about what they did to this guy. But how that all happens is up to me as a director. And as a director, what is my interpretation? And what do I want to communicate in here? What's my primary driver? I'll give you some examples. So as a director of this extract, you might want to communicate the change from teenagers having fun to a moment of dread on John Tate's book playing dead. So in the script, John Tate, halfway down the page, says, dead, he's dead. You might really want to communicate the change in mood there from them having fun and laughing at this boy to it being dread and total seriousness. Now, how you do that as a director, we'll come to. But if you remember, we'll go back here. The first thing you need to work out is, what do I want to say? What is my central mood or idea? Just like that little bit there. What's my central mood or idea in the text? In this second section here, okay? If I don't know what I want to say, I'm not ready to direct an extract or a scene or a play. So what do I want to say? Give that first one. Give the second bullet point. Shocked at the way Phil seems not to care about the loss of a life. In fact, let's just show this for a second. I'm going to mix this up just by showing you that clip as one kid company did it. Lloyd, please just shout if it doesn't work, but otherwise I like to assume that this is all coming through just fine.
So far, so good, Gary?
So. Can I just ask if that can be heard?
No sound coming through so far, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's not going to work while I'm presenting my screen. It's on maximum volume, but not to worry. That was a bit of a side anyway. But we're going to look at then, right, let's come back to me for a moment. What do I want to say to my, what do I want to say? What do I want to say to my audience? What do I want to communicate there in this extract? So there's that key moment, and I'll put the link on the slides perhaps. So in fact, it's the same link as was there for last week. If you want to go back and watch how another theatre company did it. But maybe there's a blessing in not seeing it because it's up to you to interpret, of course. So there are three things that I picked out in this scene that you might wish to share with the audience. The first one is, as I've talked through, is John Tate says dead. The mood changes from it's quite light and funny to oh my goodness, we've killed someone. The second one is John Tate then asks another character to take charge, and you could wish to communicate the shock that this character doesn't care about the loss of a life. Okay, we'll talk about how in a moment, but first you have to work out what you want to communicate. So maybe he doesn't care about the loss of a life, and that comes across in the way that that bit is performed. Maybe you want to make as your like primary focus in this extract how the whole group just adopt Phil as their leader. He's giving them an easy plan for them of how they're going to cover this up, and he can solve the problem for them. And the rest are all very, very willing to accept that. So if the point of your creative vision as the director was to show that people are easily led, you could bring that out in this extract. If your purpose as the director was to show that small things turn into life-changing events very, very quickly and snowball very quickly, you could do that in this extract. So you start big and think, overall, why do I get out of bed in the morning, go to work as a theatre director, and put this play on that I've chosen to direct? Why? What's my drive? Why have I chosen this play? Of course, the truth is, the teacher has chosen this play for you. But you are going to imagine that you are the person who decides, I love this play, and this is what I want to say about it. This is what I get out of bed for every morning and want to communicate to this audience. I desperately feel this urge to say, you need to know that people are too easily led, and I'm going to use this play as the way of teaching you that, the way of sharing that message from me to you. Okay, so you need to know what you want to communicate there, of course. Now, we'll go back. I'll just share the screen again, excuse me. So we'll look at the toolkit of a director, which we've gone through before. Present screen, that will do this in 3 seconds. The toolkit of a director, so those things I mentioned before around pace, around stillness, around gaze, around, here we go. Slides should be back open, Loa, is that with you?
Yep.
Good, thank you.
So, interpretation.
I'm just testing if you're listening, really. So this list here, pace, stillness, gaze, proxemics, use of props, slow motion, synchronized movement. So I've got this initial list. Of course, there are other things. And I'm thinking, of those things, which am I going to use, one or two or all of them, to communicate my thing I would like to, let's communicate. Which one of these bullet points do I want to communicate? And which thing from that list am I going to use to help me to do that? Okay, so let's just work through what a bit of writing looks. In fact, I'll go very quickly through this. Please know that we'll come back to it tomorrow. So just to introduce PEE paragraphs for writing as a director, and we've gone through it with acting before, and what a PEE paragraph looks like when you're writing about acting. So please go back and look at those videos if you missed those. But as a director, your point then very similar. You have to learn a whole new way of writing, particularly. What do you want to communicate as a director, referring to a particular line or moment? I'll come back to this slide, but there's an example sentence in this slide. So as a director, I would wish to show blah, blah, blah on the line, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Now, and you might even mention that through gaze and eye contact, perhaps. You don't have to. But the most important thing there is just starting a paragraph by saying what it is that you want to show. I want to show that people are easily led and vulnerable and can be manipulated by anyone who takes a bit of control in a panic. And I want to show this on the line, dead, he's dead, for example. Okay, so that's your point there. And then for the evidence is how do you do this? You describe the instructions you give, and then on the explain section, why do you want to communicate to your audience? And why would it be good to communicate this in this way, i.e. with the evidence that you've given in your previous section there? Lo, are we about 20 minutes there, sir?
Yeah, that's exactly right, buddy.
So I shall save that bit tomorrow. Just stop the broadcast there. And turn myself back on. And here we are. So that's just an introduction there to how to write about directing, or how to think about directing, actually. We haven't gone into great detail about writing, and we will. But of course, firstly, you need to understand what that role of a director is. Like, I don't meet many 14, 15, 16-year-olds who consider themselves as wanting to be directors. I meet a lot who want to be actors. So really, it is a bit more, if I said to you, what's the role of an actor? I don't think we need to start with that, do we? It's pretty self-explanatory. But Stanley, what is the role of the director? I think take some thought. I hope we've gone through that today. And tomorrow we're going to start thinking about answering exam questions about it, right? Which you will all need to do regardless of your exam. Thanks, Lloyd.
Thank you so much, Gary. Really, really appreciate it, buddy. Enjoy the rest of the day, and really looking forward to catching up with you first thing tomorrow.
Ever so much. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers, Lloyd.
Take care, buddy.
Take care. Bye, Nisha. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
So Nish, so there ends another day of streaming school. So all that sounds. There ends another day of streaming school. Someone, I've got to put a live on air sign behind me for the family for whatever anything's doing. So that ends another day of streaming school. Nish, would you be kind enough to lead us out?
Yep. All right. Here is the optional task for that drama session today. It is think of a play you've studied in class. Write one paragraph outlining your vision for the play, and then write one paragraph outlining how you might communicate this vision within a particular scene.
Brilliant.
So if you've missed out on any of these sessions, you can catch up on them on YouTube and on Facebook. All the links and resources and any tasks are on both YouTube and Facebook as well. We also have a Stream School website. If you want to check out everything on here too, you can. And if you join at the top, the code is me123, and then you can just log in as normal. And you should find everything there too.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Nice. And I look forward to seeing you again early tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Thank you.